1928. One plane, 4 men. 20,000 people to rejoice in their safe landing. The Southern Cross, under the command of Charles Kingsford-Smith and Charles Ulm, completes the first flight across the Pacific Ocean. Their journey over open water was a treacherous island hop from Oakland, California to Hawaii, then to Fiji, and finally Brisbane. 6,500 miles, 10,500 kilometers. No one thought they'd make it. The vast featureless ocean and unpredictable weather had claimed the lives of the previous 10 pilots. The bookmakers' odds were 11-1 against them reaching Hawaii. Smithy and Ulm picked up a second-hand plane from Arctic explorer Sir Herbert Wilkins. It needed work. Without the backing of a wealthy philanthropist, they wouldn't make it. And he came in the form of Captain G. Allen Hancock, a wealthy visionary with one condition: that the pilots take along radio operator Jim Warner and navigator Harry Lyon. 2 Americans, both with Pacific experience in the Navy, neither of whom had ever flown in a plane. The Southern Cross, a Fokker F-7B tri-motor, was state-of-the-art. It was made of wood, covered in canvas, and held together with wire. Anything considered non-essential, including brakes, was discarded to make room for fuel.
This is the first attempt to fly the Pacific Ocean from the United States to Australia. Here at Oakland Airport, motors of the Southern Cross are warming up. The Australians, Kingsford-Smith and Ulm, with the Americans, Jim Warner, radio expert, and Captain Harry Lyon, navigator, are about to take off on the first hop of the flight to Honolulu.
It was impossible to move around the cramped cockpit and deafeningly noisy, so the men communicated with notes, which they passed from the cabin to the cockpit on a stick. To contact the outside world, Warner had a Morse code key to transmit and rudimentary receiving gear.
Been flying low all day to ensure gasoline economy. Have encountered and flown through many small rainstorms, and recently had a scare when starboard motor started spluttering. All okay now, altitude 600.
For navigation, Lyon had 6 compasses. 300 miles into the flight, the Southern Cross lost its radio beacon. Hawaii was out of contact. Lyon guided the Southern Cross for 2,000 miles by dead reckoning and the odd look out the window. Honolulu, and a jubilant welcoming party of US Army planes. The governor of Hawaii welcomed the intrepid aviators. They didn't hear a word. All 4 were temporarily deaf. The next leg to Fiji would be the longest flight ever made over open water. Fuel conservation was vital. The last thing they needed was a tropical storm. Their generator failed, and for 2 hours, while Warner and Lyon worked to fix it, communication between plane and land was cut off. Then, engine trouble. For 8 minutes, the Southern Cross flew blind, in a storm, over the ocean at night. All they could do was listen to their engine choke and cough its way back to life. The storm had blown them 200 miles off course. It might have been so much worse. For the Americans, who had never flown before, it was a harrowing experience.
That's the second time in my life I've been scared. The other was when a man was firing at me at point blank and couldn't hit me.
The Southern Cross was the first aircraft to land in Fiji. They had no airfield, and Smithy had to make do with the suicidally small Albert Park. Taking off with 1,200 gallons of fuel would be impossible, so Smithy drained the plane of most of its petrol and flew it to nearby Nassali Beach. Ulm, Lyons and Warner followed by boat. There was a party atmosphere as they prepared for takeoff. Everyone expected the last, shortest leg of the journey to be the easiest. They were wrong. The winds picked up soon after takeoff.
They sure made my job hard enough with that damn jiggling and unsteady flying.
The storm grew increasingly ferocious. Navigating and transmitting became impossible.
Harry, can't you get a star position at all? Or can't Kim get a radio bearing? Getting pretty serious if we don't get one in a few hours.
The cockpit flooded. The instruments were obscured.
Don't report this terrific storm we're in. It would worry our people to death. We'll tell you should things become very serious.
Smithy was flying blind in cyclonic conditions that required both commanders to keep the plane under control. The storm was so fierce that an inch was sheared off the propellers by the force of the rain. But by 7 a.m. the storm had gone, and the Pacific was, indeed, Pacific. Brisbane was in front of them.
Damn good work, Harry, old lion. Keep on doing your stuff, Smithy and Kaz.
The crew were given a hero's welcome. US President Coolidge sent a message of congratulations. Captain Hancock, their wealthy investor, gave Smithy the aeroplane. The Australian government found a prize of £25,000, and then our heroes turned the Southern Cross home to Sydney. Their family was there to meet them, along with an estimated crowd of 300,000 fans. Smithy and Ulm had conquered the Pacific and captured the heart of Australia.
Well, what about bringing your friends up on the old bus, Padre? And we'll have a look at Sydney from the air.
Jolly good idea.
No funny business, you know. No loop in the loop. Or flying across the Pacific or to England or up in the moon once you get us on board. I've heard about you, you know.
Who hasn't? Oh, well, come along anyway. I'm afraid you can't smoke in the machine, folks.
Right, Sir Charles. Oh, fancy that, eh? No cigarettes or pipes in the plane, eh?
Funny, isn't it?
You know, they carry a lot of liquor aboard.
Eh?
Oh, I don't believe it.
They do. Didn't you read about Sir Charles flying blind across the Tasman?
Well, that only goes to prove what a marvellous man he is.